The laughter echoed through the school cafeteria like a cruel wave, sharp enough to cut through the quiet hum of normal chatter. Heads turned, whispers followed, and in the middle of it all stood Emma. Her shoulders hunched, her hands gripping her worn-out backpack straps, and her face flushed with the sting of humiliation. She was the quiet farm girl, the one who came to school in boots scuffed from morning chores, the one who smelled faintly of hay because her day began before sunrise. The bullies never missed a chance. They laughed at the dirt under her fingernails, at her clothes that weren't brand new, and at the fact that she kept to herself. "Cow girl," one of them shouted. "Did you milk your cow before class?" Another sneered, and the laughter rippled louder. Emma kept her head down, her lips pressed tight. She had learned not to fight back with words. Not because she was weak, but because she knew something they didn't. Something that burned quietly inside her chest like a fire waiting for the right wind. Emma wasn't just a farm girl. She was a fighter. Her father, a man who had worked the land his whole life, had taught her that strength wasn't about looking tough. It was about what you did when the world tried to break you. And when her father had passed away 2 years earlier, leaving Emma and her mother to run the farm alone, she had discovered a part of herself that went beyond just working hard. To deal with the grief, she had joined a local martial arts gym, a place tucked away in town where no one from school ever went. There, under the guidance of Coach Ramirez, Emma had trained in silence and discipline. Every punch she threw was a release of pain. Every kick was a promise to herself that she would never let the world crush her. But the bullies didn't know this. To them, she was just the quiet girl with second-hand clothes. It got worse one Friday after school. A group of bullies cornered her outside the gymnasium. They mocked her as usual, but this time one of them shoved her, hard enough that she stumbled backward. "What are you gonna do, farm girl? Cry to your cows." The laughter was vicious. She could have walked away, but then one of them reached into her backpack and dumped her notebooks into the mud. That was the moment something inside Emma shifted. She bent down slowly, picked up her books, and met their eyes for the first time without fear. The boys and girls mocking her didn't know it, but they had just awakened the fighter. Word spread a week later when the annual town fair hosted a charity martial arts showcase. Emma's coach had pushed her to enter, insisting she had the skill to compete against some of the best fighters from the region. Reluctantly, she agreed, not for glory, but because the prize money could help her struggling farm. That night, the gym lights shone down on the mat as Emma stood barefoot, her hair braided tightly, her eyes calm but burning with determination. And in the crowd, her classmates, the bullies who thought she was a joke. They had come only to watch her fail, laughing among themselves that, the cowgirl thinks she can fight. The first match began. Her opponent was taller, heavier, and carried himself with the swagger of someone sure of victory. But the second the referee shouted, "Fight," Emma transformed. The quiet, meek farm girl vanished. With speed that stunned the audience, she dodged, countered, and struck with precision. A clean roundhouse kick landed squarely, sending her opponent crashing to the mat. Gasps filled the room. The bullies stopped laughing. Match after match, Emma dismantled her opponents. Each round was harder, but every challenge reminded her of why she was there. The farm, her mother, her late father's voice telling her never to give up. Sweat dripped down her face, her lungs burned, but she kept moving with grace and grit. By the final fight, the entire gym was on its feet, cheering for the girl no one had noticed before. The championship match was brutal. Her opponent was a state-ranked fighter, someone who had years of experience. Emma stumbled, took hits, and at one point nearly fell to the ground. In the crowd, the bullies smirked, whispering that she was finally out of her depth. But Emma's eyes closed for just a moment, and she remembered the mornings waking up before dawn to feed the animals, the heavy lifting, the endless work that had built her strength. She remembered standing at her father's grave, promising him she'd take care of everything. She wasn't fighting for pride, she was fighting for survival. When the final round came, she dug deep into every ounce of strength she had left. A swift combination of strikes stunned her opponent, and with one last powerful kick, Emma sent him down. The referee raised her hand. The gym erupted into thunderous applause. She had won. She was the champion. The bullies sat frozen, their faces pale, their laughter long gone. They had mocked her for being a farm girl, but now they had seen her for who she truly was, resilient, unstoppable, and stronger than any of them could have imagined. Afterward, Emma walked out with her head held high, her mother's proud smile shining from the crowd. People who once ignored her now looked at her with admiration, but Emma didn't need their validation. She knew who she was. The next Monday at school, the same bullies who had dumped her notebooks avoided her eyes. One of them even muttered an apology. Emma didn't gloat. She simply walked past, calm and quiet as always, carrying the strength of someone who had faced both grief and cruelty and risen above it. Her story became more than just a victory in the ring. It became a message whispered through the halls of her school, and later shared far beyond. Never underestimate the quiet ones. Behind silence can be strength. Behind pain can be power. Emma proved that the farm girl they laughed at was a champion, not just in martial arts, but in life. And long after the fights and the bullies faded, her story continued to inspire others who felt invisible, reminding them that their worth was never defined by the laughter of others, but by the battles they chose to fight and win.